Hello, my name is Matthew Sear, and I am a student with the Flatiron School working on my project through the Learn curriculum. And right now I am working on a project that involves using Sinatra and Active Record to create uh, some sort of system to keep track of something like a collection or something. I chose to make a reservation system, and right now I am kind of going through and refining some of the things associated with my project. Um, this project is supposed to use the models, views, controllers paradigm, I guess you could call it. Um, and right now I have pretty much everything fleshed out and working. I'm just going through and trying to fix up some small things here and there to make sure that it's a smooth experience and everything functions the way that it's supposed to. But with my reservation system, I have the user and reservation models, and the user has many reservations, and a reservation belongs to a user. Um, as far as controllers go, I have the user's controller that inherits from the main application controller, where everything is kind of configured, and I have some helper methods defined. Uh, and the reservations controller, which is pretty much strictly for creating and editing, updating and deleting the reservations. So it has all the routes that you would expect for a typical CRUD model like that. It displays a list of all the reservations, allows to create a new one and posts once it does, allows you to get and then edit an existing reservation and update it through the patch route, and then also delete an individual reservation. I also included a delete all reservations button, which might actually be dangerous because there's no confirmation that happens whenever the button is selected, but I think that it's nice to have for testing purposes because I can just go through and delete all the reservations for a given user quickly so that kind of go through and create and edit and update some new ones. Um, and then the views, there's a general layout.erb that came with the initial files for setting up this project. The Cornell gem was really great for setting up the initial files. Um, and I'm not sure if this is the right sort of way to go about this, but I realized that since the other views inherit everything from the layout.erb file, that I would just put all of my flash messages there. And I installed the Sinatra Flash gem so that I could display error messages whenever a particular action happens successfully or fails. And so all of these messages are actually contained within the routes within the controllers, and they happen depending on certain actions or triggers, but they're only going to show up whenever they need to, and then they're not going to be there after that. It's just the way that it works. So um, I think that it makes sense to just put them all into layout instead of trying to figure out which individual view they all go into, but maybe that's wrong. So I'll see, hopefully, whenever I go to do my assessment, what the recommended sort of pattern for that is, I guess. But in any case, the other views are contained within their respective folders. So the user's view has a sign up form, a login form, and then also a show page that shows all of their reservations and no one else's. And then there's a reservations index within that folder that shows all reservations, because I kind of envision this sort of being used as part of like a company intranet, so you're not necessarily going to care too much that all of the users' information is displayed like that, and within a reservation system it makes sense for everybody to see all the reservations, at least the way that I have it set up right now, because ideally what you would want is that you have some sort of page that shows you what resources are available on a given day or time frame or whatever. So it's kind of backwards right now in that sense that it's showing all of the reservations rather than all the available slots. But because I'm just working on this project for the purposes of the Flatiron curriculum and the requirements therein, I'm not necessarily fleshing it out quite as much as I would like to have it being functional, because this is actually a project that I wanted to create whenever I was working at my old job, because we had a fleet of vehicles that we would use to go out and take care of company business. And there is a service that we were using to kind of keep track of things, but I felt like it was feature incomplete and there was some things that didn't really function that well with it. it's still much better than what I have right now, but hopefully I can continue to work on this project over time, or maybe it's more appropriate to do as a full-on Rails app at some point once I get more into that section. But for now, I think it's a pretty good proof of concept, and like I said, the main index page, should have this information, I think, available to people who are within the system using it. It's still not available to be viewed unless a user is logged in, so it's not like a random person could visit this and look at all the reservations and find that information that way. But then there's the new reservation form, as well as an edit form, and then a show page for the individual reservation, which really isn't that particularly useful. I considered having maybe just the show page be the edit or delete page, because I think it makes more sense to just redirect to that, but I want to make sure that there are proper routes set up as part of the RESTful routes recommendations, in terms of, like, having a route associated with a particular CRUD function, which in this case would be to read. So I don't know if it's appropriate to combine those things for usability's sake. I kind of think so, but again, I kind of just want to make sure that it's separated out for the purposes of this project. Before I started recording, I was trying to make sure that where was I looking at before? Oh man, I can't remember what I was doing before I started recording. I should have made a note. Oh, I think I was trying to make sure that the error messages for the sign-up page reflected what was actually happening, and so I needed to create a new flash message for a situation in which a user tries to create an account and their username is already in use. So we'll label that correctly. And then we're going to put these flash messages into the layout.erb like we have been. And this definitely seems messy looking at it now, especially as you get more of these. I can imagine doing something where they're like put into an array and then maybe iterated through or something like that, so that you don't have to have this like whole random list like this. But it works for now. And like I said, I'm not really too concerned about fleshing this out into a complete app at this point in time, but as I learn more about how to program, I'm interested in trying to develop these sorts of tools, because I think that they're really useful in practical applications in a small organization or business, and I think there's going to be a lot of need for that sort of thing. So that's why I kind of wanted to be able to take some of my ideas and create them using these skills. So maybe if I return to a setting like I did one day, then, or like I was in before, I might actually try to create a tool like this if the need arises. But otherwise, tinkering with it as a project and just learning is also very helpful, so I enjoy that. Okay, so I am going to test this. First, let me do a commit. So yeah, I kind of want to test this out for a second, and actually, I'm going to drop the databases for a second, so that I can start clean with some testing data. Okay, that's a good start. I think everything should really be functional at this point. I haven't really had any issues after I did some of my initial tests. There I go. Oh, it's because the session wasn't cleared, so it still saved the user ID in the browsing session, I guess. The session ID. Let's just try to go to... That's actually an interesting... I mean, I guess that really wouldn't happen in a production setting. Like, you wouldn't suddenly drop the database and then somebody would, like, hit a crash error like that, because it really wouldn't make any sense. So I'm just going to try to log in with a dummy email address and password. Okay, so that's good. Email or password did not match our records. Please try again. So that error message is working correctly. So let's try to create a new account. Let's just like look at some of the validation things. So I do have some like HTML sort of required tag stuff going on here that forces the user to enter all these things, but then there are also some validations happening behind the scenes that will prevent these from being created if there are errors. So like for example, I'm going to do some messed up email addresses there. And so there was no flash message there. So that's interesting. If I look at the user's controller, params, email, I'm not sure that the way that I have this if statement is actually set up the best. And I'm sure that the way the Rails validations are implemented is a really good argument for not having to do these, because writing these validations by hand is pretty annoying, and I think it's prone to having issues like that, where otherwise if you were just in the user model or whatever, like you could write a validation, which I actually had to do for reservation because I wasn't sure how to code this otherwise. This validation here prevents a duplicate reservation from being created and an existing reservation being updated to one that has the same date and resource being reserved as an existing record. So that was the easiest way I could figure to do that. I'm not really sure how to code that out by hand without making it look really convoluted, but maybe I'm overlooking how simple that could possibly be. But in any case, here, I'm not really sure why this is not triggering. Let me see if it does with the passwords one, because if it does, then maybe it's just an issue with... Okay, yeah, so the passwords don't match. Do I have a different pattern here? Else if... params, passwords, email... it's not equal... params, password confirmation, email confirmation, that's what they're called, right? Password confirmation. Oh, okay, so it looks like I didn't actually put the email confirmation parameter into the initial user creation. And I'm not really sure how... this is going to react, because if... well, the password confirmation thing is like a built-in sort of component of creating a new user object, because there's no... like if we look at the user table, there's no password confirmation, because it's just part of how this works with like the password digest. It's not storing the password or the password confirmation, it's generating that hash with bcrypt. So the password confirmation thing is kind of just like a built-in function. So I'm not really sure how this is going to work if the email confirmation is put in there now. Yeah, I'll try it, I guess. Email confirmation params email confirmation dot downcase. And I'm downcasing the emails and the usernames because I don't want to have to screw around with some sort of convoluted method to, like, I don't know, reinstate the the username and the password, or the username and the email address to like the way that they were capitalized whenever the user entered them, because I don't think they should be case sensitive anyway. But yeah, I have a feeling this is gonna break now. Oh. Yeah, I still think it's gonna break whenever I try to pass it in as an argument, because unless it's like set up to handle those, that would be really intelligent. But so matt.com. Yeah. So I guess I'd have to make that as part of the. I guess I would have to make that as part of the table. I guess that's worth doing. Again, I'm not sure if that's the best way to handle it, because I don't really need to store those things, but just for the sake of that actually functioning the way that it's supposed to, I feel like that's important. Yeah, so let's close rig db drop and delete this and update the user model. We'll put it here. T.string email confirmation. That's creating a new reservation under user. Sign up. Name is email confirmation. Yeah. And is that how I coded it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, let's do that then. And hopefully that should fix that issue. Rig db migrate. Okay, tables were created successfully. Shotgun. And now we'll just do like we were trying to do before. Okay. Well, it already had that flash message there, so maybe it wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try it one more time. Matthew, Oh no, that's actually gonna work because. Alright, well. We'll create another account. That was dumb. Here's my dog's name, Echo, without the caps. Echo at, see, I tried this before. Echo at echo.com. Okay, so that error is still not coming up. Email addresses do not match. It did come up before though, so that's weird. I mean, it's not super important, I don't think. It's confusing why one error message won't work when a bunch of them other ones will. Email mismatch is in there. Flash email mismatch. And that's the same way that it's written here, right? Flash email mismatch. If params email is not equal params email confirmation. I mean, I guess the most important thing is that it doesn't work whenever the user tries to create an email or create an account with duplicate emails. Emails that mismatch, excuse me. I guess I need to add down case here also, because I don't want that to screw anything up, but that still shouldn't really affect anything. try login. Passwords do not match. Huh. That's interesting. So why is that showing up when I go to login? I guess that's one argument for having the error messages embedded in the respective pages, though that would still be in login, so I'm not sure if it's relevant, but it didn't come up when it needed to. And it's also the wrong one because it was supposed to be the email mismatch, not the password one. Let's also try creating a new account with same email address. I thought I just did mad.com. Mad.com. Let me try one more time. Well, that's not working, huh? Yeah, I think the way that I have this if statement written is not actually correct. I don't think I can put the account creation at the beginning and then have it check through all these things because, like, it's just looking for a valid This is also already going to be true anyway, right? If params password does not equal params password. Params password does not equal params password. That would be true. So I think that I need to move this last in any case. This is probably like super hacky, but again, that would be true, true, true. Yeah, let's try it that way. Let's see if the account creation works that way. That's the important one, at least for the sake of testing whether this is going to spit us back out. Okay, it did, but again, it didn't give us the message that we were looking for. What happens if I go to login now? If I go to sign up again? Okay, that happened there. But why not on? Maybe because it's not, there's no redirect. I'm not sure if that's excessive or not, but we'll find out if that at least clears up the problem. So, Matthew, Matt at Matt.com, Matt at Matt.com. Well, we'll see. No, it didn't. Probably because I'm going to get the password mismatched now since I mistyped. Yep. I should really change them all to redirect to make sure that they work, but I just want to test this one case, and then I'll change them all to redirect if that fixes it. Yes, okay. So that's what we need to do, which again, I'm not really sure that that's the right pattern because calling the page again might be like unnecessary. But at least I know that that will ensure the user sees the correct message at the right time. Okay, let's test these other ones then. Yeah, okay, cool. So I think that's good. Well, I wasn't actually testing that intentionally, but I couldn't remember what the password I used was. I hope that's it. Yeah, okay, great. So, shouldn't be any reservations in the system right now. We'll go to all reservations. Yeah, home redirects to my reservations. Ultimately, because, yeah, okay. Create a new one. Pre-populates name and email address, that's cool. Date picker is nice. Oop. I'd like to limit to creating future reservations too. Cool. Go to all reservations. Shows up there. My reservations. If I go to the link from all reservations, yeah, edit or delete. Test update real quick. 30th. Yeah, the vehicles don't match in the update. I need to fix that too. Alright, well at least I changed the thing. Yeah. My reservations. And the dangerous delete all button. Okay, so one of the things I needed to do, let me first commit. And then application controller, no, where was I trying to go? Edit, reservation doesn't have the same options as new because I updated them earlier. So we're gonna just change those, not a big deal. Could really be anything, just wanna make sure that it's, yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna look back at my notes here to see if I had anything else that I needed to fix because I went through earlier. No, okay. Yeah, so I think everything's looking good. It would be nice to see how I can ensure that only like current date reservations are made, not past. So, I don't want necessarily that to just be an HTML validation thing, but that would be a good start, I guess. How would that be validated in Ruby? Like, date would have to equal date.now, probably, or something like that. Maybe I could just try that before I get into Googling. It's a reservation, new, post, okay. Well, that could be another validation thing to include in the reservation model. That would be a lot easier than putting it into the route here. Yeah, I don't like all these nested sort of like if statements. It's kind of like cumbersome to navigate. Else if see, I don't even know how to compare date values though, that's the thing. Yeah, see, then you get into updating. Well, I guess that should just still be the same. Past equals now minus 10. So if I set minus number equals time. See, that's the thing, like I'm looking at time. I should probably be looking at date. Yeah, I don't know. I'll still try it, I guess. Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, we'll literally just try yesterday. Okay, it didn't actually let us, so maybe that worked. Okay, I don't think I put my flash message in to the, where is that supposed to go? Yeah, layout.erb. Well, not supposed to, but according to my pattern here. Okay, awesome. Let's test today. Alright, let's test tomorrow. Great, awesome. Glad that worked. Okay, so now I just want to put that same thing into the edit. Oh, I did have the else if. Oops. So we just want this same path. Should just copy the whole thing. Okay. Oops. It's June 29th. Sweet. Okay, I think that worked out pretty well. So we'll commit that. Prevent if I literally would prevent users from creating a new reservation or updating with creating a new updating an existing reservation with a past date. Okay, yeah, so that's awesome. That feels like some good functionality to have in there. Yeah. Oh, it's because I shut down the shotgun server. But great, everything's working. So if you were watching, I appreciate you watching and sitting with me while I was going through my thought process about how to handle some of these issues. So thanks a lot.